Hey there, thanks for watching. I wanted to do a quick update. This one's going to be very low tech. I'm not even editing, but since we're just in the garage anyway, I want to talk a little bit about the 89 YZ 125 build. I've had it for right at a month, and I can absolutely say that this bike is probably the most challenging, in some respects, the most challenging build that I've done. It is, everything on it was roached. I mean, even the stuff that you thought would clean up, a lot of it I had to replace anyway. I found cracks in the tank, so I had to get another one of those. It didn't even have the right carb on it, so I had to track one of those down. Fortunately, there were a lot of bikes. Yamaha used a lot of these parts, you know, from really 89 to 92, and then some of the other parts they used in other years too. So the parts are out there. If you're considering doing a build in this generation, the parts are definitely out there. I found some pitting in the forks. The anodizing, it looks like it almost starts to peel off the aluminum. Something happens when it gets a nick in it, and then it gets corrosion beneath the anodizing. But anyway, if you're building one, look out for that, because I ended up, I wanted to switch the forks anyway, because the stock fork springs are like a 0.33, which is like super light. So I found a set of 250 forks, and that got me up to I believe it's like a 0.385, which still isn't really stiff enough, but it's a whole lot better than 0.33. And I think for vintage and what I do with the bike, it'll probably be all right. Yeah. So I've tracked those down, and they also had the anodizing's good on them. So I'm gonna do some Frankenstein work here in the next few weeks, and decide which ones really have the best parts in them, and decide if I'm gonna go with the 250 valving or the 125 valving. So there's that. Shock shaft was pitted, so I tracked down another shock too, and all this stuff. I mean, most of it's like 50 bucks here, 50 bucks there, so it's just not that big of a deal. Getting the crank rebuilt, put new bearings in the cases, and the crank actually just shipped it off today, so that hopefully be back in a week or so, and then I'll actually be able to put the motor back together. The cases were originally painted, and there's a paint called Color Right that actually is like the perfect match. So instead of stripping them down or getting them blasted or whatever, I did those back with paint, because I always kind of liked the way that looked. I did go ahead and strip the swing arm down though, because I know that's going to take abuse. So I kind of went both directions on that. And then the frame, got it powder coated. Found a local guy who did a great job, did it super quick, and that powder coating looks like new. I was fortunate. I sold the 03 YZ 125 after probably about 2 or 3 weeks. So basically I just took all of that and dumped it into this one. So it's coming along pretty quick. I really think probably by the end of January, I'll be able to get a ride on it. Or at least, I mean, I think maybe a week or two I'll have it started, but there's still other stuff to chase down. I have to rebuild the shock too, and then just getting everything back together. So there's the update. It's coming along actually pretty well. And some of the small wins, turns out UFO has a whole plastic kit for this bike. I believe the retail is like $180, and they were having like a Black Friday or something, Christmas special or something. So I got the whole kit with free shipping for 140 bucks, which that's just kind of blows my mind. I get, you know, a whole plastic kit for a bike this old. And they also had the fork guards, and those were like another 20. So nothing bad at all. So other than that, I can kind of show you the pile of parts here and talk about some of that. But hopefully the next time after this, we'll be getting into at least maybe the first time we crank it up and see what it sounds like. So here we go. And let me see. The radiator's actually cleaned up just fine. Galfer still makes a brake line for this, so I got that on there. Still have to go through the wheels and tires, of course. What else? I had the brake reservoir on backwards, and they jammed like a straw into it or something. I don't know. The foot pegs, if you go up to 96, you get wider foot pegs. They're, you know, the stock ones are probably that wide, so this gets you a contemporary foot peg style. This was on an eBay find. You can't get those OEM anymore. I think somebody 3D printed it. Look at the engine cases here. So pretty happy with those. And then there's the rest of the pile of parts that I still have to go through and clean and everything else. Airbox they painted, and then there's paint over the paint, and I don't know, I might just pick up another one of those too, because you can find them for 40 or 50 bucks. Anyway, so there's your update. Thanks for watching, and the weather it's looking a little better, so hopefully maybe I'll get in some rides on the Husky here in the coming weeks. All right, thanks for watching.